From personal experience and even hearing from some of my favorite fellow productivity nerds, I know how powerful it can be to have a morning routine. And it's true, when I'm at my best, I'm getting up at the same time every single day, I'm working out, I'm eating right, I'm meditating, I'm taking care of myself and planning for the day ahead, and that really accelerates my growth every single day. But let's be honest, that doesn't actually happen every single day. And more often than not, sometimes I find that I don't have the full time I need to do a whole morning routine, or probably more often, I just don't get up in time. Actually, that might be most of the time. Yeah. So how do I keep myself from feeling guilty and self-sabotaging myself? And how do I still make realistic progress toward my goals, even on my worst days? Introducing the micro routine. What's going on, everyone? Virgil in the Cut here, back at it again with another simple tip to kickstart your sustainable productivity practice. Now, as I mentioned, morning routines and routines in general can be really powerful tools. They can help us develop strong habits over time that help us reach our goals much faster by being consistent every single day. But it can be discouraging if you're just starting out building out your first morning routine, or when you look on YouTube and you see routines that look like this.
Early in the morning, I wake up to greet the sun as it rises. I meditate for 2 hours. Then, I take a 10-minute ice-cold shower. The shower strengthens the body and calms the mind. After my shower, I blend a handmade smoothie of organic fruits, vegetables, and other nutritional ingredients that I've grown in my garden.
So yeah, now I have nothing personal against this type of morning routine, and there are actually some times where I've been able to tap into that kind of energy for a couple weeks. But what happens if your day starts off more like how you start your morning can often set the tone for the rest of the day. So the problem is, if you get up on the wrong foot, you carry that energy throughout the afternoon and the evening. You have priorities from work and school, or maybe you have other obligations with family and friends that are pulling you in different directions. And that can be exhausting if you end the day not being able to work toward any of the goals that you've set out for yourself. So how do I still make progress in terms of self-development, even on my worst days or days where I'm just not feeling it? I use something called micro routines. And so in this video, I'm going to explain what exactly those are, why I think micro routines are particularly effective, and how you can actually personalize these micro routines to work best for you. So what are micro routines? Imagine a perfect day where you have all the time in the world to focus on your own goals and self-development, right? You might work out for 2 to 3 hours at the gym. You might read a whole book. You might cook 3 really balanced meals in the day, track all your calories, track all the nutrients, and drink a gallon of water, right? These are things that we wish we had the time to do every single day, and it would be great if we could do those things every single day. But what a micro goal is these are smaller versions of those goals that fit within 3 to 5 minutes. So instead of working out 2 to 3 hours a day, a micro goal version of that is working out for 3 to 5 minutes. Instead of, tracking all those calories and cooking 3 delicious, nutritious meals, it might just be drinking a glass of water in 3 minutes. Now, just like a typical morning routine, it's always really great to be able to get these micro routines done at the beginning of the day. But of course, we know that the real flexibility and strength of these micro routines is that you can actually squeeze them throughout the day, especially if you don't have time in the morning. So let's say you get up super late, or you just don't have time because you have a busy schedule. If you can find 5 minutes sometime in the morning to do one of those micro routines, you can find maybe 3 to 5 minutes during lunch and maybe 5 to 10 minutes later on in the evening. You can still go to bed in the midst of a very busy day, actually still working on a bunch of different areas that you're trying to develop yourself in. Think about micro routines as a productivity safety net, because we know that on your best days, you can get done everything that you need to get done. You can work towards your goals. You have all the time in the world. But now, even on your worst days, we've actually raised your bare minimum. We've raised the baseline so that on your worst days, you're still moving toward your goals, even if it's just the smallest of steps. So let's get into it. How do I design a micro routine? The first thing I do is I write out 5 broad categories of areas I want to continually self-develop myself in over the next couple days, weeks, months, or years. So for example, I could pick nutrition, creativity, learning, fitness, mental health. There are other categories you can choose too. You don't have to pick the same ones I did, Some examples could include learning a new language, developing better relationships with friends, working on personal finance. So the choice is yours in terms of what categories you want to work on. The second step toward building your micro routine is just writing down a small actionable step that takes about 3 to 5 minutes to either complete or do next to each of your 5 categories. So for example, for nutrition, it could be drinking a glass of water. That takes less than 3 minutes. For creativity, it could be dancing for 5 minutes or singing for 5 minutes. Learning could be reading a book for 5 minutes. Fitness, instead of working out 2 to 3 hours like we said, you could do push-ups, maybe 10 push-ups every minute for 5 minutes. And then for mental health, it could be something like meditation or listening to music, something that makes you happy and re-energizes you. The last step is super easy. It's just to save that list. Save it for a day where things are not going your way, or it's been super busy and you don't think you have time to really commit to developing yourself or even just taking care of yourself. When those moments happen, pull out this list and knock out even just 1 or 2 of those things on that micro routine list. That way, when you go to bed, you can think, oh gosh, I've had a really awful day, but at the very least, I've taken 3 to 5 minutes today to make myself better for tomorrow. So there are a ton of benefits to micro routines. One of the ones I've said that I want to highlight again is that if you've had a really crappy day, micro routines are a great tool to help keep you from going to bed thinking that 100% of my day was awful. 99% of your day could be really, really bad. But doing these micro routines gives you a little bit of that push to say, even if 99% of my day was awful, I still took 3 to 5 minutes out of my day to invest in myself to make myself better for tomorrow. Which leads to the second point. It takes 3 to 5 minutes. Most of these micro routines don't take long. Even drinking a glass of water maybe takes 1 minute. And so, an average song length might be around 3 minutes. And it's easier for your brain to tell yourself, oh, I only have to commit to this 3 to 5 minute thing, even if I can't do, a typical routine that might take me 30 minutes to an hour. Another reason I like these routines is that it's a great way to actually start building routines if you've never built a morning routine before. It allows you to start small, build some momentum. Maybe it's just drinking water every single day for 1 minute or 3 minutes, but it's a great way to start building a routine over time instead of trying to start off with this super ambitious 1 hour, 2 hour morning routine that you may not be able to commit to right away. As I mentioned on my last video about the sticky note method, this method is equally able to be scaled up or down based on how comfortable you are. And so if you're having a lot of trouble committing to 5 micro routines, just keep it to 1 and then slowly build yourself up over time so that you can do 2, 3, 4, or 5 micro routines. Again, I wouldn't try to make these super complicated or super long. This is the emergency micro routine list that you'll pull out during your worst days. And so you want to still make this manageable enough that you can break it out even when you're not feeling at your best. Another tip that makes these micro routines really flexible is don't be afraid to give yourself a little bit of choice in these categories. So I know we talked about creativity, and one example I gave was dancing for 5 minutes. Some of my friends may be able to list dancing or singing or drawing or journaling or coloring or anything that they can choose from, so that if they need to, grab this micro routine when they're not feeling well, they actually have a choice of what they want to do based on how they're feeling. So it's super adaptable. Another tip I have is you can actually use this micro routine as a mental reset. And so if you're in a mental space where you're starting to panic and you feel like the world's spinning out of control, taking some time to do 1 or a couple or all of the micro routines on your index card or in your phone is a good way to take a step back from whatever's going on and give yourself that space and that time to be able to breathe a little bit. And so I often find when I'm just not having a good day or I feel like I'm spiraling out of control, I'll use this micro routine. I'll knock out these 4 or 5 things I've written out on my index card. And when I come out of that, I usually feel a lot more level-headed and clear-headed to approach whatever challenge is confronting me at that moment. And that's it. I'd love to hear if you've been trying out this method, what categories, what action items are you working on? Leave those in the comments below. And what are some other things that you guys try when you want to practice self-care or when you're feeling burnt out? What are some of those things that keep you going? Would love to hear those as well. So feel free to share in the comments below. As always, if you like this video, I would appreciate it if you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, always hit that notification bell over there, and we'll see you in the next one.